Hey there, it's the Jew from the Chew on This podcast, letting you know you can leave comments, questions, and suggestions a number of ways. Reviews and comments are appreciated on iTunes and YouTube, and you can check out our daily postings on Facebook. Our Twitter feed and Instagram is at Chew on This Pod, and of course, as always, you can email us directly at chewonthispodcast@gmail.com. So there you have it, folks. Short of a bat signal or an Avengers card, there's all the ways you can let us know how big of a nerd you truly are. Enjoy and chew on this podcast. Welcome to episode 44 of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic.
So there's been a lot of talk recently about, well, especially like Warner Brothers and DC, and a lot of people are going on there, and internet trolls are going on there and really saying some pretty stupid things to get people to argue with them and stuff like that. And trolling's been a big deal. I mean, for the last few years on the internet, but I think it just feels like more and more on the internet, as far as like all the forums and stuff that you and I go on to, there's a lot more trolls on there with this, especially with pop culture lately. And so troll, I feel like, is going to be the word of the year. It's got to be, because like I think one year it was blogging, and last year it was something else. I can't remember what it was. Something really popular, like selfie or something like that. And this year, God, it's got to be trolling, because there's so much of it going on. So I just wanted to start the podcast, about talking about trolling. Like, what is it exactly? Okay, because when I think troll, or most of you out there think troll, you think of like some goblin or something like that. But there's an actual definition to it. And also, when I think trolling, I think of like you're on the back of a boat, fishing and driving really slow and trying to grab a fish, because they see the hook, and if you're going too fast, they can't catch up to you. If you go slow enough, you're trolling. You're trolling for fish. So, or you're out there trolling for chicks. That's another term. But as far as like trolling on the internet's concerned, it's like creating like an uncomfortable situation on the internet. And it's usually people trying to upset other people, or trying to, post like these inflammatory, extraneous like topics, usually on the online community. And usually it's like, on Facebook or on forums. I see a lot like on comicbook.com, on Facebook, like people leave all these crazy comments to like bait other people into arguments instead of real discussions. There is a difference. And a lot of time they do this, these trollers, they do this, they rope people in, and it invokes like, emotional responses from the other party. And sometimes it disrupts even the topic that you're trying to talk about. Often for their own amusement. That's the thing too, is usually trolls are out to just stir up the pot. They're not necessarily adding anything relevant or to the discussion. They're just trying to piss people off. So Vic, what kind of experiences have you had when it comes to like internet trolls?
Well, usually what I found recently is it doesn't matter who you are, or because anybody can get trolled online, but people just love doing it to celebrities. I'm pretty guilty of it when I post on our Facebook page, especially when it comes to anything that is Transformers, Michael Bay or Zack Snyder lately. But we saw it happen with Leslie Jones, most recently.
Oh man, that was brutal.
Yeah, basically every kind of racist thing you could say to her. was tweeted to her, and it was pretty bad. Where they actually kicked off the ringleader of it all. And then there's other times. I mean, even in politics, it happens too. I mean, there was that rumor that Clinton was paying uh, online people to troll Bernie Sanders
Hmm.
supporters. That
Oh
story was
wow.
out there for a little bit. Social media has played a huge role into this this no accountability for what you say and what you do online most of the time. Because even though they got rid of the ringleader and banned him for life off of Twitter, there was more than one person that did it. So, but for me personally, it really has something to do all the time with something that people are passionate about. And right now, people are passionate about these movies out there, these comic book movies. And for me, it's always if I try to put in my 2 cents, but I don't. I try not to do it in a way. I would say about 90% of the time,
Hmm.
in a way where it's constructive. I try to be funny first, and then I kind of try to say something with some facts based on it because I'm not the type to argue to troll without any facts.
Right.
Even though trolling is probably not the right way to go about it, but if I do troll something, it's because I strongly believe in the facts of why I'm trolling. So I won't ever troll if I'm like dead wrong about something.
So what if someone posts something? Like, can you be a troll if you like post something that elicits people to write comments on your post?
Yeah, because I've trolled Zack Snyder since we started this podcast with all the articles that have ever come out about his movies. I've trolled him. I've trolled Transformers. I've trolled Michael Bay. I'm guilty of it because I post the articles with these funny comments on it, presenting the article, but at the same time, it's still trolling whoever I'm bashing, I guess, in the moment.
Jesus,
So I've
can
definitely done
you
it.
like if you troll enough, can you just become an ogre? So I just start calling you Shrek, like the
I don't
Asian
think
Shrek.
I don't think that'll work enough. I don't think we have enough listeners.
Right.
Because if you
um,
give yourself that name, it doesn't really count, right? Like you can't give yourself a nickname.
like I've trolled so much that now I'm an ogre. And I'm just like, um, I I've been very guilty of this too. I mean, and it's really funny because the roles have kind of reversed. Like for a while there, you were getting really upset with these people saying certain things, and you were getting so riled up. And I kept telling you, just don't talk to him, or whatever. And then now I've been baited into a lot of heated quote
You've
unquote
gotten worse. You've
discussions.
gotten worse. Mine
I've
was like
gotten
once
way
every like
worse.
mine was once a month, maybe once every 2 months.
No, I've
You're
been
you're
like every
basically
day.
texting me like, yeah, exactly, every day. You're
It's like
becoming the
every day.
you're
I
becoming
see
like the
someone
angry
post.
Jew. You're becoming the angry
Yeah,
Jew.
I am the angry Jew. I so am the angry movie Jew. That's so true. That's crazy. I should just start a new podcast and just say I'm the angry Jew.
Yeah, just curse
Yeah,
the whole
shit.
time.
Trademark right now. Yeah, I'm trademarking that. It'll be our sister podcast. Because there already is an angry Asian, so you can't really take that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's a good sign.
um, but yeah, I mean, like recently I see like people post stuff like, "Oh, Warcraft is like the best movie of the year" and all this stuff, and I'm just like grinding my teeth, going like, "Are you freaking kidding me? Like this movie was the worst." And I wrote like just thing line by line about why I thought it was terrible, and then I'd get people just completely bashing me, and then there was like a few people actually came to my defense and said, "No, you're right. It was a terrible movie," and you put the facts down, but still, it doesn't. It's still like eliciting a response from these people that I kind of knew was going to happen, so, and I still wrote it anyway. So that's totally considered trolling. But also more, I mean, most recently it's Batman v Superman. It seems like every day they
Or
post some
DC.
article. Yeah, DC that posts some article that backs up why those movies are great and why the next movies are going to be awesome and all this stuff, and you have all, and I keep reading these people and what they're saying, like, oh, the ultimate edition of Batman v Superman made the movie so much better and more coherent, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And I'm just like, and I would just step by step write down exactly why they're wrong, and then just like get blasted. Like we got just some heated discussions about that, and
Here's
Star
how we
Wars too.
Here's
Yeah.
how we know that we don't have a lot of listeners because of the shit that we've said about DC, like on this show.
Yeah, we haven't got shut down.
Yeah, we haven't gotten shit. Like we haven't been trolled at all. So our numbers say we have a good amount of listeners. So, but I guess it's not that many, or either that, or everybody agrees with us.
Everybody agrees with us. Yeah, I'll just say that. I think that's the right answer.
You were saying
Yeah,
Star
but
Wars.
yeah, I was saying Star Wars because you and I talked. I think one of our crummy first podcasts was about the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie.
That was our
And-
second podcast.
Yeah, our second podcast, and someone posted something like, some fan made a fan made Kenobi trailer that everyone just like went nuts over. And I wrote down something to the effect of like, yeah, I would love to see a Kenobi movie. And I listed all the facts. Why? I'm like, he's the right age. He's a wonderful actor. He never got the shot he deserved, because the script was terrible and it was clunky, and like he deserves to be the protagonist and deserves his own movie. And I got 120 likes, like a bunch of stuff. And then there was a bunch of people that wrote stuff like, no, Han Solo's movie is going to be better, or Fett's movie is going to be better. Or I'd rather watch Yoda, or I'd rather, not listing any facts, just saying I'd rather watch this. And then I would write down like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, why? Why would you want to see Yoda become Yoda? That just seems really boring to me.
That's a lot of sequels too, since he's 900 years old.
He's right, like 9 movies to get to the point. So my argument was, he's such a good actor. He was wasted in those movies, and I think he's ripe to make his own movie. And I think it would be interesting to see. Obviously, I mean, people were like, "What? Just see him like sitting in his hut, looking out over Tatooine, jerking off over whatever, and not doing anything." And I'm like, "Oh no!" I'm like, "Man, there's lots of stuff he could have left the planet anytime and went and did other things, like." Maybe there was other Jedis in distress and he went to go save them and they ended up dying. Like whatever. It could be anything. He could have fell in love with somebody. They introduced that in the Clone Wars. He could, all sorts of things could happen. So
They could stick an awesome Easter egg in there too. Because right at the
Absolutely.
end of Revenge of the Sith is when Yoda tells him he needs him to do some training. And you can actually dive into that in the Kenobi movie of how you train to become like a ghost Jedi.
Yeah,
But the other thing
that would
also-
be awesome.
Oh, fuck, I lost it. That was the first thing I was going to say. I forgot the other thing I was going to say.
maybe you'll remember. But I think it would be a cool story. Now, I'm not knocking a Han Solo movie. That's great and all, but I'm least interested in that.
Oh, I just remembered. Now
especially-
that you said Han Solo, I fucking just remembered.
Okay.
When it was what you said, he was like, he's out of the entire Star Wars universe trying to go backwards now. That's what they're doing, right? All these Star Wars stories are told either as a prequel or, way before they become in A New Hope, right? So
Right.
you have to get somebody completely different than Harrison Ford to play Han Solo, which I don't know.
Oh, God.
I think probably Luke might be the second, like the hardest of all, and then Han Solo. But Ewan McGregor is unique in that sense, where like he's the perfect age still to play Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one out there that can actually play the character that he played in the prequels and still be right. Like, I mean, Hayden Christensen, if he wanted to play Darth Vader in Rogue One, he'd have to age another 20 years or 10 years or however long it is.
Right. Yeah.
Or 20 years, I think, because I think Luke is around that age, and so is Leia, right? They're
Something
supposed
like
to be around
that. They're like
20.
19 or 20. Mhm.
Right. So they were first born in episode 3. So Hayden Christensen would need to be like 40 years old, 50 years old to play the Darth Vader in Rogue One, which he can't. Not that it would matter
Nope.
because he's got a mask, but even if they took the mask off, you'd be like, that's like 29-year-old Hayden Christensen playing a 50-year-old, man.
Exactly.
So Kenobi,
No,
like,
you're so right.
Yeah.
You're just based on that theory alone, you're right. I mean, that would be the way to go. But I just don't see any sense of like, when you do prequels, there's no sense of danger. I mean, I guess in Obi-Wan you wouldn't have that either, but you can explore some really cool shit with him. Because like, I always wanted to know, what the hell did he sit there and do for the 20 years? He had to have done something. But anyway, so there was a lot of people really, again, bashing me over saying one simple thing of like, who cares about those other things? I want to see this instead because I think, like you said, the guy is still around. He can act and he'd be amazing. And it'd be really like a heartfelt kind of story. And we get to see him maybe in some really cool action. Um,
He's definitely still young enough
yeah,
to play that to be able to saber fight. You know, he wasn't like Mace Windu where he wanted to wield a lightsaber, but he barely knew how to use it, or he didn't really train for it. He wasn't actually supposed to fight in the movie. Did you know
right.
about that? Like he wasn't supposed to fight Palpatine in the movie, and they just
Oh,
decided to
that
do it like the day
fight is
before.
not. Yeah, those any fights that you look at in the prequels. I'm sorry, everybody, but every fight in the prequels are not good. I mean, yeah, in A New Hope, if you go back and watch that fight, it's pretty clunky and slow, but it had emotional impact, especially when he gets, when he lifts his lightsaber up and gets killed. So, but the prequel movies, they're so choreographed and it's so boring that I can't. I mean, do you remember like Return of the Jedi? Even is a little clunky, but there's a lot of emotion behind that because
Right.
those two are father and son, and like even like Vader throws the lightsaber at him. I've said that before. Like there's some cool shit that happens in that fight,
You don't think
but it's the
the
emotion behind
you
it.
don't think the Maul Kenobi fight was good? I thought
I
that was
like
the
the
best
Maul
fight.
Kenobi fight. The first half of that fight was great, and then it became completely choreographed. If you go back and watch it, it's
Well,
especially when he
yeah.
does that twirl move and they both kind of like back off each other. It's a weird like um, it looks very choreographed. But the beginning part of that, when he just like you see him hopping up and down, and then when the thing opens up, he
Yeah.
runs at Maul. Like that was fucking
I think it's
crazy. I was like, that's
right up
awesome.
to the point where it cuts right at the point that it becomes really choreographed is right after he splits the lightsabers, I think.
Yes, exactly. The whole fight before that was awesome. Um, but then I don't know, in Attack of the Clones, the Dooku fight, pretty choreographed and lame.
Of course it was choreographed. It was against fucking an imaginary Yoda.
Yeah. Um, let's see. In Revenge of the Sith, the ending between Obi-Wan and Anakin is so over the top and ridiculous. I think Spielberg actually directed that, or it was his idea or something like that. Um,
They would have
but
been
yeah,
better off. They would have been better off putting them in a fridge and finding a Death Star laser.
I was just like, I don't know, man. Like, but maybe we're getting a little bit off topic, but it's just it's getting to the point now that trolling is just it's nonstop. It's all the time. It's there's nothing like redeeming about it. Why do you want to push someone to get in a fight with you over something as stupid as you know Suicide Squad, Batman v Superman, like I wrote a comment in the Suicide Squad thing. I wrote a comment saying like, why is Bruce Wayne running around recruiting people and not Batman? And of course people jump on there and start you know saying bullshit from the comics or this or that. And I'm just like, it doesn't make any sense within the context of the movie. I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Or like, don't, or like the latest article is like, in Justice League, they're going to address why Batman's so angry in Batman v Superman. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, do we have to like, every movie has to like address the shit from the previous movie? I'm like, didn't Batman v Superman address Man of Steel, right? It addressed some of that shit. So basically instead of like so what I said in the comment was so basically we have to wait for each movie to come out to explain the shit that happened in the last movie. I'm like, this is awful filmmaking. Like this is the worst storytelling I've
Well,
ever read,
let me say this before
and
we
people
get
went
trolled.
nuts over that.
Let me say this before we get trolled on what you just said. It's okay. It's okay to answer questions in later movies to address things that you raise in the movie that you're watching now. And I'll give you an example. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to to leave it open ended about when Yoda says there is another and Empire Strikes Back, and they don't address it again until Jedi, right?
Okay.
Because and here's why it doesn't. it doesn't it doesn't fuck up the movie, or it doesn't make you say like, wow, Yoda's a terrible person now. Why is he all of a sudden terrible? Like, it doesn't change the dynamic of the character. So
Mm-hmm.
what DC does, right, is they have to morally fix their characters in each movie so far, right? Because you only count
But
you only count the
so
Man of Steel and Batman v
question
Superman.
question really quick before you go too far though.
Yeah.
Um, does it seem to you though that they only correct that after the fans bitch about why? Like when people were like, "Why did Superman destroy Metropolis?" The
Well,
same
yeah, I
reason, like,
mean, it's bad storytelling because that's not something you should have to leave for the next movie. Like, it's something you should know your character well enough and be a good enough storyteller to actually show that, or like, have him not figure out how to fly and be Superman in 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm,
if you remember in the Richard Donner, the first movie, he goes away for like 20 years, and it's
mm-hmm,
actually explained in that, because we see Jor-El through the eyes of Clark, but Clark has been on Earth this whole time, so he needs that shit. Like, he needs that basic stuff explained to him, so it makes sense why Jor-El is explaining something that doesn't need to be explained, right?
mm-hmm,
Because what it actually does is it tells you that Jor-El, for that time that Clark was away, and to the time you see him in Metropolis, he has been training the whole time to become Superman. Like, that's what it was, right? He
right,
says it's going to be like 20 years of your life or whatever, even though it'll seem like really short.
mm-hmm,
It'll be this amount of time on Earth. So it's explained like, oh, so for 20 years he trained to become, you know, Superman. In the Man of Steel version, he just learns how to fly after the second jump, and then after
mm-hmm.
that, there's no like, oh my god, what if I actually like, hey, remember that mountain I took off the fucking rooftop of that mountain? Maybe like I just find a way to address the fact of how strong he is, and he still doesn't know how powerful he actually is, because then it would make sense why he's destroying Metropolis. But the problem with that is you already destroyed a part of Smallville, right? Like, he didn't need,
Right,
like, the way, because this is bad storytelling or bad script writing or bad directing. He didn't even Superman, or any normal person with those kind of powers. If you had destroyed your hometown, are you going to take a bigger fight into a heavily populated city? No,
right.
you're trying to save these people. Like, yeah, he saved Earth, but he probably killed like 1 million people in Metropolis because of
I
what he
swear to
decided
God,
to
I
do.
swear Snyder and Bay are cut from the same cloth because remember in Transformers they took the fight to the city and then they're like,
Yeah,
Sam, take this cube, outrun the Transformer and get to the top of that building before
yeah.
they do.
Remember
And
the giant alien jet that beat us here from the
yeah.
Hoover Dam? Go outrun that, and we'll cover you. Be like,
We'll cover you.
Jazz, you're a Pontiac GT. You should be able to drive me fast. No, no, no. It'll be cool. Just run.
Just run. Just
It's just an
and run up those
alien
steps.
jet. It's an alien jet that can fly faster than anything you've ever seen, but you can outrun it 4 blocks. Go.
Still don't know what the point of that was. Get to the top of that building. I don't understand that at all.
I just love the part where they make Optimus Prime in that movie say, right before all the hell like shit hits the fan, all the he says, we don't kill humans, right? We have to protect them. And then all of a sudden, like, it's like, hey, we're not gonna hold this fight here at like maybe a slightly populated Hoover Dam, which is probably has like 100 tourists there, right? We're gonna drive it through the fucking through traffic in the freeway, just kill a bunch of people in the cars there. Then we're gonna decide to stand ground right in the middle of downtown, where there shouldn't be any people ever during rush hour. All right, Sam, go.
It's so stupid. It's
Yeah,
so
I know.
stupid.
And
It's
then
so ridiculous.
somehow Sam gets up to the top of that rooftop, and he's about to give the cube to a fucking helicopter. It's like, hello, the jet that was really, really fast, and the other helicopter that was a transformer, and the other one that was a Raptor, the actual based on a real plane Starscream was a
Yeah.
Raptor. That jet is faster than your helicopter. What are you
It's
doing?
gonna catch you.
Yeah.
That's really good storytelling. It's fantastic storytelling. Like
We've
even
gone so far. I don't. What the hell was my point? Oh, the point about explaining the movies. Yeah. So you can't
yeah,
explain like stupid plot points in the next movie, saying, "Oh, my bad," but here's why. You should
right,
do that stuff in the beginning. Like that's the difference between continuing the story and fixing your story.
right. I think it sucks if you have to wait to the next movie to explain the actions in this movie. I just don't get that. Like Batman is branding people and beating people up, and people on the internet were like, "Oh, well, you should read the comics." And I'm like, "Okay, asshole." N- I read the comics, and I still had to like sit here and figure out that the reason why Batman is beating the shit out of everyone is because he's upset that Robin got killed by the Joker. But who the fuck, average moviegoer has no idea what the hell that, why he's doing all that stuff. They're just like, "Oh, I guess this is a darker Batman." Okay.
No, and what's funny is they actually fixed a problem that wasn't even their movie, right? So what I'm talking about is in Batman v Superman, they were wondering what Ben Affleck's voice was going to be like, right? Because everybody couldn't stand
Mm-hmm.
Christian Bale's voice in the Dark Knight trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually go ahead and try and fix the Dark Knight trilogy by giving this version of Batman a voice modulator, right?
Yes.
Well, here's the problem. It wasn't. He's he. This is the second incarnation of Batman, correct? In
Mm-hmm.
their universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why did he wait all that long to have a voice modulator of all the things that he could have created? Wouldn't he have had that in the very beginning?
I don't know, man. Like I just thought, I just laughed. I still go back to this, but in The Dark Knight Rises,
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
Christian Bale always, no, even when people are not around, he still uses the voice. Like Catwoman's fighting and he looks up and Catwoman's gone and he's like, "So that's what it feels like." And I'm like, "There's nobody fucking there to listen to
He's still
you.
doing it.
Like, why are you saying that out loud like that?"
Maybe there was a
I
bum up
thought I
there.
thought it would have made that line would have made a really awesome impact if he said that in his own voice. I thought that would have been really cool because there's nobody around and he's like, "Fuck, I don't have to do this voice right now." He should be like,
You know what they
"Oh,
should
so
have
that's how."
fixed? You know what they should have fixed is the nose hole pieces in his cowl because that fucker can't breathe out his nose at all.
Oh, I know.
So like his
Yeah.
mouth is always open and like now that like I know that he can't breathe, that's all I see in the there's a scene where I just think it's fucking comical now. Not when I first watch it, but right now I think it's fucking hilarious and you probably will too. But there's a
Hmm.
scene at the end of The Dark Knight Rises where he does the screaming thing again like he did with the Joker. He's like,
Hmm.
uh where's what does he say? Where's the bomb or where's the detonator?"
Yeah.
And he's like screaming it, right? But because he can't breathe out of his nose, his lips are like puckered up and he's trying to like gasp for air in between each line.
Oh,
and
yeah. That's
he
he
looks like
does.
he's
Sometimes he
fucking asthmatic.
slobbers too.
Yeah, he it's so fucking funny that he can't like close his mouth because like a Batman with like he doesn't have buck teeth, but because he like can't breathe and his mouth his upper lip is always curled up, it looks like Batman has buck teeth.
It's like Batman sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Batman needs a CPAP machine.
That's
Uh,
funny.
yeah, that's true. It's I mean, but what I liked about the Nolan universe is that they addressed like the moving of the he couldn't move his head before, so they fixed
Yeah.
the cowl so he could move his head. Like they did cool shit like that, and then they made the third one and they fucked it all up.
Yeah, that
But
was yeah, the third one. We'll have to podcast the Dark Knight trilogy one day.
oh, that would be amazing.
Because I would love to talk about the third
We do
movie.
have some. We have some free. I mean, we got some free openings. We could be doing that probably in the near future. Um, so anyway, we got way off topic, but it's still. I mean, it kind of circles back around to the whole trolling issue because it's not just like. I mean, we're talking about pop culture and media and all that stuff because that seems like that's where it's most prevalent recently, especially with these comic book movies and all that. I mean, you have all these different people just coming out of the woodworks and just starting up this like just stirring up this shit trying to get people excited or people be pissed off and they do it for fun and it's even more so like it's crazy. It's gotten all the way down to like I'm on a bunch of different forums on Facebook. One of them is the Star Wars Black Series figures. You know, there's like a forum on that, which is great because for someone who collects them like I do, I can find out when things are on sale or when stuff's coming up, and so I'm like really paying attention to it. But then you have like certain people that they're like, hey, you know, I can't afford to like buy these things, or like I can't go to the store all the time and try to find them. I can't go to San Diego Comic Con and buy the figure because, you know, I live in Florida. So they are making their own figures and making their own displays and stuff. And it's super cool. Like, I think it's awesome. I'm just like, dude, can you make me something? And this guy made me a mold of the Vader head that Ren has. And, you know, I got it for a few bucks and he sold it to me for a few bucks and I painted it. It looks sick. Anyway, but then you have people online that are just like poo-pooing it. They're just like, what are you doing? Like, Hasbro should be, you know, suing your ass and all this stuff. And the guy's like, I'm not making a profit on these. I'm just making them because people can't afford or can't get the thing from San Diego or whatever. So people are just like, you have all these different people. And I'm wondering, like, who are you? Like, why just, if you're not going to, if you don't, not going to buy it, then don't buy it. Why do you have to comment on that shit? You know? So like trolls really, like, there could be all different types. You know, some are just like sarcastic, some are actually very like I would never say genuine, but somebody that's like really like serious about something, to the point of like, if you say, you know, DC really hasn't been doing great for these last three movies, but Marvel's really been killing it. And then you'll get this like, you fucking piece of shit, you're just a Marvel fanboy, like, and you're just like, whoa, like there's nothing constructive about that. Like, you explain to me why this is better than this or whatever, and I'll listen to your thing and I'll make a statement and say, okay, cool, whatever. But just jumping on down your throat, you know, like that, I think is a form of trolling too. It's just trying to elicit a response. Which, if you come at me like that, I usually don't respond to you because it's like trying to talk to a drunk 4-year-old. It's not going to happen. You know, it's like, although I don't think I've ever met a drunk 4-year-old, but you know what I mean. It was just like really like they just have a wall up. They just don't care. You know?
I got trolled. I got trolled hard once when I asked in a Star Wars forum, um, and I had to explain this question before I posted it in the forum. I think you might remember this.
Yes,
I
I
posted
do.
in the forum like what the big deal of Boba Fett was, and I couldn't understand. Like I thought Boba Fett was like one of the most overrated characters in all of Star Wars. Like you know, call him the Fett. Everybody loves Boba Fett, right? And I couldn't
Hmm.
understand it. But I believe I prefaced the comment or the discussion topic because I didn't grow up watching the movies in the theaters. Like I said
Hmm.
in our 80s top 10 that we just had.
Hmm.
I didn't grow up there. I grew up, you know, watching it on VHS, HBO first, then VHS, then the Laserdisc. You know, I grew up with that time frame, and Boba Fett was just like, okay, he looks cool, but he fucking dies like all stupid and shit. Who cares? Why does everybody love this guy? And even with all that said, like giving giving some preface to why I was asking this question because I just didn't understand it.
Hmm.
I wanted people to give me like kind of proof about it. Why, like, tell me within the context of the movie. Don't use the extended universe. Don't use the novels, anything like that.
Right.
Video games. Just tell me why in the movie he's awesome because I don't get it. I think there was like 100 comments before I got one person to actually like explain to me what it was like to watch Boba Fett on the big screen
In
for the very first
in an
time.
intelligent way. In an intelligent
Yeah,
way.
yeah, like give like basically answer the question that I asked because I asked, you know, give me a reason within this movie because I didn't watch it in a theater. So explain to me why he's so beloved and use proof. Don't give me like you got to read this like 60 novels to understand why he's so awesome.
Totally.
So I would probably say the first like 60 or 40 comments were like, I can't believe you don't love Boba Fett or whatever. Finally, one guy took the time and actually explained to me why Boba Fett is so awesome to him. And he explained,
Which is, yeah.
he explained watching it in a theater and not knowing who this bounty hunter is, and that he was the only one at that point in time to talk back to Vader. But see, I didn't pick up on that because I had watched Star Wars again from a very
Hmm.
early age, not understanding shit. So it was just like a throwaway line for me. And then when he explained it to me, I was like, oh, you know what? You're right. In all of the three movies, he's the only one that talks back to Vader, really. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, that is pretty badass. And I was like, okay, cool. Thanks for explaining that to me. But the trolls came out like heavy handed in that one, just bashing me for not liking Boba Fett and calling him an overrated
Which
character.
you never said you didn't like him. You just said, "I what is so huge about him?" Like you didn't say you didn't like him. You just didn't say like what is the huge deal about him. You know what I mean? Like I tell you, like he made a really good point, probably a point that I wouldn't have made until like my older age. But at the time, I remember watching it. I think it was just the mystery of that character that I thought was really cool to me. And like he was the one that caught Han Solo. You know, he was the one that brought them down. You know, to Vader. Like nobody else could catch them, and he's the one who followed him from the Star Destroyer to Bespin and got them caught. So I always thought he was really cool because he's the guy that caught the good guys. And, you know, usually the good guys always escape. So I just thought it was really cool for that reason. I think Attack of the Clones came around and tried to explain some backstory, and I think it kind of failed miserably in
Yeah,
that aspect.
very miserably.
But yeah, and so that's probably why a lot of people want a Boba Fett movie. Again, I'm not really that interested. I mean, there's a lot of cool novels with Boba Fett that I thought were pretty neat, but I don't need to see a movie with him. I think I like the mystery of it. I just
He's
like,
he's pretty good in the Clone
yeah.
Wars because Boba Fett is in the Clone Wars.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Did you finish the
So
Clone Wars
yeah.
yet?
No, I haven't. I'm like, I think season
Boba,
3.
Boba Fett's in there like for a good story arc in there, and he's not bad. I think the Clone Wars fixed a lot of issues that I had with the prequels. Honestly, like
Yeah.
Filoni and those guys and still do an awesome job. But if you watch the Clone Wars, it's like, well, how come I couldn't get this in the movies? So kudos
Hmm.
to those guys that did Clone Wars, the cartoons.
They've really gone back and really repaired a lot of the problems. I just hope that Rebels just doesn't get too like it's getting close to A New Hope. You know what I mean? Like I just hope they don't start throwing a ton of characters. I mean, I know they throw Lando in there, and that was actually a decent story. But
Mm.
like, I just hope they don't jump into like young Han Solo and start just throwing everything in there. Luke running around as a baby or some shit.
Now,
You know, I
when they introduce Admiral Thrawn for this season, which I can't fucking wait, and I can't believe they're still doing it. There's a whole new world out there that they don't even have to touch the Skywalkers.
yeah. But at some point, Thrawn has to get destroyed at some point because he's nowhere around. And the same thing with like Rogue One. You know, they have that new General Krennic or whatever the heck his name is.
Hmm.
You know that him at some point is going to get destroyed, and he's not going to be around because Marv Tarkin is like the lead, the head guy. So those characters. I mean, for them to do Thrawn, for one thing, I know they said they weren't ever going to do the expanded universe. So once they brought Thrawn out, that really blew my mind because I'm like, oh my god, he's canon now. But the other part of me is like, oh no, there was like really cool stories with him, post Return of the Jedi. Because like if you read Heir to the Empire, that's
Right.
5 years after Return of the Jedi, and that's when
Hmm.
Thrawn is running around,
Yeah.
running the fleet.
And you can't do that
And
story because now you'd have to recast. Again, going back to our point about why you need a Kenobi movie, one of the main reasons
right,
is you can't go back and do that movie with the original cast. They're too old.
no, no,
So now you have to recast everybody.
yeah, Kenobi's the only one that they don't have to recast. I mean, if they made a Boba Fett movie, I suppose they can get Daniel Logan, but that kid couldn't act, as far as I'm concerned, like back in the day. So he was the worst. I mean, I feel bad. He was a kid actor. But
Yeah.
if you go back and watch Attack of the Clones, his acting is so like it made Jake Lloyd look like
Yeah.
Oscar winner. It was bad.
Yeah.
Um,
It's been a while since
I,
I've seen the prequels. I kind of want to watch them again.
I just watched all 7 last week. I watched one per night, so it was interesting. Like I can I appreciate's a strong word, but I can sort of appreciate the prequels for what they are. But I'm so glad that with Episode 7, it kind of put things on track. And I think even you said before that if the prequels were really good, that Episode 7 would not have the impact as it did.
It wouldn't be the
Um,
same movie. It would
it
not have the giant Death Star again.
no, no, it wouldn't. That was the one thing I think that kind of ticked me off in that whole movie. I mean, there's some little piddly things, but the biggest one was the Starkiller base. I think I didn't like that at all. They tried to recapture that trench scene and all that. It just didn't have the same. I mean, not even near the same impact at all.
No, but I don't think it was. I think it was just supposed to be familiar yet different.
Yeah, I don't think you're probably right. There probably wasn't supposed to be the impact or the whatever you call it, the main story. That wasn't the main storyline. The main one was Ray and Finn, and so that was just a formality just to blow that thing up. And,
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, as excited as I was for episode 7, I think I'm even more so now, because now we get to see Luke fucking kick ass, and I've always wanted to see that so bad. So, and I hope we get to see the Knights of Ren too. I don't know. I hope they'll.
There is a rumor out there. Spoiler: there is a rumor out there that the Knights of Ren attack the island that Luke and Ray are on, and I'm getting like goosebumps just thinking about that scene.
Oh shit! You think that's the part of the Force vision she had was the future?
Well,
that was part of it.
No, that was the past, actually.
Them in the rain.
The rumor is that that's where the Academy went bad, and the Knights of Ren killed all the maybe the Jedi that Luke was training. I don't know if that's true or not, because there's somebody there that isn't supposed to I don't think is a Jedi.
Oh my God, you just got me excited. So you're saying like Ren and the Knights of Ren show up to where Luke and Ray are?
There's a rumor. There's a rumor again that might happen. Somebody apparently thought they saw like a bunch of action going on at the temple or at that island where they're filming the Jedi Temple, and I don't know if that happens. Holy fuck, I'm gonna lose it.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. No, I just can't wait, because Rian Johnson is so amazing. I love Looper so much and some of his other movies, and he wrote this one, like totally wrote it, and he's directing it. And I think that's such a genius move. So, and I've heard it's a very different movie.
Yes.
So I can't wait. It's so far away. Damn it. But,
you know what's so awesome about Star Wars, right? What's so awesome is that, like, one of my favorite stories coming out of Episode 7, after I saw the movie, was JJ talking about things that he'd never seen before, and he wanted to put this in the movie because he'd never seen it. And like, those are the things you talk about, like me and you talk about, like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if they did this in Transformers, or wouldn't it be cool if they did this in, Batman v Superman, all this stuff. Like you direct it in your head, right? But this guy, JJ gets to fucking actually do it, and one of his things was, I never saw Han use Chewie's bowcaster gun or whatever, and he fucking does it. It's like, it was one of the better running jokes in the movie.
Yeah, I love that, and I love the fact that they started doing different things with the Force that you never saw before.
Right, and then
really super cool.
And then, so what I'm thinking is Rian Johnson is a big Star Wars fan too, and like, he's gonna put shit in the movie that like we never thought about seeing. Like, one of my favorite scenes from the prequels is when Qui-Gon sticks the lightsaber into through the blaster doors and starts melting it. And I'm like, holy fuck, I've never seen that before. And then it was like all downhill after that. But still, like, that movie, that part in the movie was fucking awesome. I still sick. Geek out about that part. So like, I can't wait to see what Rian Johnson does with like Luke Skywalker, because like all these things that I've always wanted to see is Luke just be a fucking badass. And I just can't wait for him to be a badass in the next movie.
Those are the things that worked in the Marvel movies. I mean, just seeing shit you've never seen before, or that you've already always dreamed about, and they're doing it, And so, in this movie, it's time to really like do some shit that you've always wanted, like stuff that you would do when you played with your figures in the dirt. You're like, oh, I wanted this to happen, and then like he gets to do that in real life. Yeah, he gets to like really. He gets to do it with the real life Luke Skywalker. Yeah, so cool, man. I know, so cool. But anyway, so I would actually be excited if we got some trolls coming on to. Or
that would mean people would be listening.
That'd be kind of cool.
That would mean people are listening to us.
Right. like just life imitating art.
Yeah.
Just like, please troll us. That'd be amazing.
That's how desperate we are for listeners.
We were offered a prize to the very first person that that trolls us.
Do something good. The original.
You're an ugly Asian and you're a fat Jew. Well, yeah, tell us something we don't already know, but like actually come up with like a really good,
I said
you know,
trolling.
troll. I said trolling, not insulting. Um, that's too funny. But anyway, so yeah, it's definitely just coming back around a little bit before we sign off. But it's not something that is going to go away anytime soon, and until we can like figure out a way how to deal with it, not get so reactionary, because that's what they're looking for. That's all that trolls are really looking for, is they want you to react in a negative way and totally derail the discussion that you're actually trying to have. And it could be a real, especially if you're having a bad day and some trolls messing with you, it sucks. Like I've just gone off the deep end sometimes, and I have to tell myself it's really not that big of a deal. Like I got a family to take care of, like bills to pay, and here I am like pissed off at some idiot because he says, like Batman v Superman was the greatest movie on earth, and I'm like, no, it wasn't. you know, like reverse trolling him, but whatever. I don't know. Do you have any parting thoughts?
No, I just know that we're going to be guilty of trolling. I'm going to be guilty of it when I post stuff on Facebook because I can't not. I mean, every time I read something about what DC is doing, I just shake my head and like, please, somebody know what they're doing over there because this is getting ridiculous. Please,
Yeah,
Jeff Johns, be the equivalent of Kevin Feige.
yeah. The articles keep getting more and more ridiculous. Like I just saw one today that said like Jeff Johns is riding the ship, and Wonder Woman and Justice League are going to be amazing. I'm like, those were like done filming before he even got on board, or like at least one of them was in the middle of filming. So it's like the Batman solo film is the one I'm really looking forward to because it seems like he's got his hands in it. Like they just announced some casting today that actually made sense for once, with Deathstroke. But again, casting and then like showing the character what he looks like 2.5 years before the movie comes out is bullshit. That really upsets me. I don't like that. It's like I don't want to see what Deathstroke looks. I want to go to the movie theater and see what he looks like. I don't want to like see him in a little video that they posted.
Yeah, there's literally nothing you need to spoil about DC movies right now. They'll do it themselves.
Oh yeah, they will tell you the whole movie in a trailer that's 2 years before the movie comes out.
And I can
You'll know
guarantee,
everything you
I
need to know.
guarantee you, I'm making a guarantee right now. I guarantee you that 6 months before the movie comes out for Justice League, we're going to see like a 3-minute clip, just like we did for Batman v Superman.
Right, that explained the whole fucking movie. Exactly.
Well, or just give like the best action part in the entire movie and just give it to me there.
Like I still don't understand the whole Bruce Wayne thing going around and recruiting people. I still don't get that. Like he's standing in a crowd of people. He's like, I'm looking for the man that talks to fish, essentially. And they're like, hey, you're Bruce Wayne. Why are you looking for that guy?
He's fucking Bruce Wayne. Everybody knows who Bruce Wayne is. Like, you can't go around as Bruce Wayne recruiting all these people that have superpowers. You can't deny anything after that. You're like, yeah, I know who you are. You're fucking Bruce Wayne. Like, even the people, the Eskimo people that he was standing around, I think in that scene or whatever, the fishermen or the whalers or whatever, like, oh, fuck. Bruce Wayne's in Antarctica. Shit. Like,
why didn't he show up as Batman? He's like, where's the guy that talks to fish? Something. That'd have been fucking awesome.
Yeah, do it. Actually, aren't you the world's greatest detective? That's your detective work, just showing up at a fucking bar in the middle of the day and just asking, "Hey, where's this guy?" No, I'm not Bruce Wayne. I'm
not.
I'm Ted Wayne.
He's like, I'm not Let me clear my throat. I'm not Batman.
I'm not Bruce Wayne, and I'm not Batman either. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
now, the guy that talks to fish, I just need him to find out where the good fishing is, please. Where is it? Again, not Bruce Wayne or Batman.
I'm not Bruce Wayne or Batman. I'm just a fisherman. I want to go trolling.
That's what his shirt says when he walks in.
Yeah, I'm not Batman or Bruce Wayne.
He's got a name tag that says not Bruce Wayne.
Oh my God. That was the last. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's probably as ridiculous as if you boil it down to like Bruce Wayne trying to recruit all these famous people, all these people with superpowers. Like, nobody protects their identity more than Batman and Spider-Man. Peter Parker is not gonna walk around fucking like trying to be like, hey, did you see the Lizard anywhere? Or did you see Mysterio? How about Doc Ock? I just want to go talk to him.
I'm not Spider-Man.
Yeah. Or Peter Parker.
I'm just a reporter. Yeah.
I do not have an Aunt May. Don't go into don't go into my apartment because I live in a giant mansion.
Right. Oh my God, that's too funny. So before I go, like,
we just trolled. We just trolled right there. I just trolled.
We just get.
I just undid everything that you just said about trolling.
Right, we're just trolling within the trolling, like it's like Inception trolling.
Yeah. Inception trolled.
It's the troll within the troll.
That's awesome.
Did you see the? I sent you a video of this girl that reviews Suicide Squad in 3 minutes and just fuck. I mean, it's so genius.
Yeah, I saw it.
It's got like 2 or 3 million hits now. It's so genius. You just got to look up Suicide Squad funny review on YouTube and you'll find it. It's this girl who does like this review. It's not even a review. It's like recruiting Suicide Squad is what it is. And she brings up some of the most amazing points and just derails that movie in 3 minutes. And but there's a lot of people trolling her right now, going like, "You don't know anything," and
yeah, you're just
that
a
movie
girl.
was amazing. Yeah,
you're just a girl, doesn't know anything about comic books, but she knows movies.
Exactly. Thank you. I mean, that's the point, right? Is like make a good movie that transcends what it is, and that makes it an amazing movie if you can do that.
Yeah, because when you use comic books if you use the books and the novels or whatever to try and explain things, it's like, okay, so then the comic book is actually better than the movie is what you're telling me, right? Like,
right, pretty much.
So you can't use comic books as evidence or as proof of explaining stuff to me in a movie because it don't work. That way.
That's one of the biggest problems I think DC's having right now is they're just putting all this patchwork stuff. I heard that Batman v Superman was 4 hours long. And Warner Brothers like, what the hell is this? And they had to cut it down to 2.5. That's why it's so choppy. And even the Ultimate Edition couldn't fix a lot of the problems. So it's like, instead of just shooting all that coverage, why not film like a really tight, good movie and have everything that you need in there, and that's it. You don't need to shoot a ton of stuff, or put in 50 million characters. Just concentrate on the story.
What's funny is that article that you sent me about that is that the guy's like, it's not Zack Snyder's fault. It's he's not to blame or whatever. And then he goes around and actually blames Zack Snyder while saying it's not his fault.
He trolls himself.
Yeah. He's like, it's not Zack Snyder's fault. It's the writer's fault. But in this case, the writers did exactly what Zack Snyder wanted. And I'm like, okay. So it is Zack Snyder's fault.
Yeah, exactly. It's his tone. It's everything. But whatever. I guess they're kicking him off, or he's leaving supposedly. And I pray that Jeff Johns does a good job. I mean, Berlanti's killing it on the CW. I mean, that's the other thing is like people like have trolled me and said like you're such a Marvel fanboy. Hey, I'll be the first to admit there's a lot of shit Marvel stuff out there too. They're not really doing that well on comic book wise. DC's killing it comic book wise. They're killing it on TV. Marvel really, Netflix shows are really great, but the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for me is so fucking up and down. Like I can't. I have to wait till that season's over and then I can go and just like binge watch, because if I watch it week to week, I get pissed off.
Yeah, Ghost Rider is either going to save the show or kill it immensely.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they've brought characters on Gotham where I thought, oh, that's interesting, and then it's not. It just like made that show like even worse. So, whatever. But we've talked way too much about DC this episode again. I don't know why we'd say fuck. It's like every week it's Zack Snyder this and Michael Bay this, but whatever. It'd be
It
cool. Like
will be
one day
more
if they
about
actually-
Michael. It will be more about Michael Bay when Transformers comes out, and you go and watch it, and you have to tell me about it because I refuse to give that fucker any more of my money.
I'm not going to pay for that movie. I will get arrested and go to jail if I have to sneak in there to watch it. I don't want to. I don't want to pay for that movie. But I'm like watching a bad car accident. I'm going to turn my head to see it. So like, I will try and go see it somehow because we have to review it. I mean, I have to tell you about it and review it and all that stuff. So
I can't.
Maybe it has to
I
be-
have not been to a Michael Bay movie. I have not been to a Transformers movie in like 3 sequels.
well, we may have to. This might have to happen if there's some reason
So,
why I'm in
here's
your
what I'm
neck of the
gonna do.
woods and I buy your ticket. Then you have to come because
Well,
I
we
made
can-
you
we
come
can
to
ask our-
Warcraft with me.
Yeah, I know. I'm fucking. I still would have.
You're still traumatized over that. He's so traumatized over that, folks, that he would refuse to review that fucking movie. It was that bad.
Stupid. Maybe if we start a GoFundMe of trying to get me to go watch Transformers. Let's start a chew on this GoFundMe to just go watch Transformers because I refuse to give
It's
that guy
gonna
any
take
money.
like $1,000 for me to even consider to go waste 2 hours of my life.
No, I'm just gonna put up 20. I'm just gonna put up the movie ticket because it's gonna be on IMAX, right? So I'm gonna
Right.
put up $20.
$40. I want to go. $40.
No, you want to go. I don't want to go. So
Well, I do, and it sucks. It's such a it's a what do you call it? A paradox. I don't want to watch this movie. I fucking already hate it, but yet I have to go see this movie. I want to see just how bad it is.
I
It's
don't.
like-
And you're a do and don't. I'm a don't and I don't. Like I don't have to sit here. Like I eventually watched the Turtles the Turtles one that came out, but I didn't pay
Right.
for it. Like it was just there, and I just watched it. And I'm like, oh my god, this is fucking awful. If I had to get in my car, like I have to get dressed, get in my car, drive all the way to the theater. And then sit down for 2.5 hours and watch a piece of shit movie, and then I have to get out of the theater and drive all the way back home, and just be like, "Fuck!" I just wasted
Defeated,
like 3 hours.
crying.
Yeah. At least if I got like a root canal, they would give me drugs.
You're like, and I went to the drugstore, got some Xanax
Yeah, and then
because I didn't want to kill my wife when I got home.
Transformers was somehow better. Like I fell asleep after the Paramount picture came up, the Paramount logo, and I fell asleep, and it was fucking awesome.
I felt bad for like Stephen Amell. I understand Megan Fox. I really don't care, but Stephen Amell, I'm like, dude, you're Green Arrow on DC, like CW. Why do you need to
not
do
used
Casey
well.
Jones?
He was-
No,
they were that casting to me must have been like, let's get some of these comic book watchers into our movie.
right. Let's get some people, young people in there. Yeah, it was not a good movie. I mean, bless their hearts, they threw everything in the kitchen sink, but it was just the wrong way to go. I mean,
There
they
was
wasted.
I will say there were some certain cool things in there. Like I did get a little geeky with Krang, seeing Krang there.
Yes,
But
'Cause they didn't
as soon
skip
as
on
he
him.
opened his mouth, I was like, oh god, they got fucking what's his face from Everybody Loves Raymond to do this guy, and he was like really over the top.
wait a minute. Who is the voice of Krang?
Robert in Everybody Loves Raymond.
Was it Brad Garrett,
Yep.
the
Yeah.
comedian?
Yep.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
If you go back and watch it, you can see him doing it. It's him. It's
Yeah, I won't.
could
I won't
picture
be
him
doing
doing-
that.
All right. We
take
got to
your
end
word
this.
for
We
it.
got to end this podcast because now we're fucking talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles too.
Now we're trolling the trolls and the trolling back all over the place. Anyway, so yeah, Chew on This goes trolling. But anyway, that's episode 44 of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic,
Until next time, folks, chew on that.
later.